Hi, welcome. My name is Meka Albania Osher Al, and welcome to another episode of Truth Matters Broadcasting. Truth Matters Broadcasting, where we discern the truth for ourselves about religion, the kingdom of the one true, the only true creator, and the church. Welcome. We are streamed live amongst four different broadcasting network. We are streamed on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Also, hit that notification button so that when these amazing broadcasting programs come up, you'll be one of the first to be notified. All right, we're going to get right into it. But before I do, I want to tell you about this special um, YouTube channel that I have called Now Living in the Philippines. Now Living in the Philippines. The reason why you want to subscribe to this one is because if you are Yaosher Al and you are planning to come to Madbar, and you're planning to be here, then this channel will just give you it's kind of a synopsis of what to expect our life here in the Philippines. So now living in the Philippines will be something you can definitely go and subscribe to, because that will help you a lot. And besides, you'll see how we're living down here. It's beautiful, man. It's amazing. So you'll learn some do's and don'ts and some expectations, etc., etc. So go and like that channel. It's also a channel that is actually giving me some monetization. So the more you like and the more you subscribe, and the more you tell your friends, and they tell their friends, and they tell their families, and they tell their friends, and you subscribe, every subscribe and every watch time monetize and put some, financial numeration in my pocket. So I would thank you for that as well. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Now living in the Philippines, powerful. But if you do want to catch these programs that I'm doing, I have not put any of these programs on Now Living in the Philippines. Because Now Living in the Philippines is a program that is a YouTube channel that I'm centered around being here in the Philippines, Cebu, Philippines. And I want to keep it generally like for that. But if you want to catch all the other programs that I'm doing, then go to Michael Sewell SR. Michael Sewell SR. This is where you will find these programs on the YouTube channel. Make Michael Sewell SR. Why? Because I want you to see where I'm coming from to where I'm at today. And hopefully, if you go back and watch some of my earlier videos, you will see and you'll notice that I was past tense a Christian. And the reason for that is I grew up Christian, and that was my religion of base, or I wouldn't say religion of choice, but a religion of base, based upon my forefathers, my parents, born and raised in Jamaica. Christianity was the religion of choice. So I grew up being a Christian, and that's where I found my roots, are my foundation. But over the years, I have realized that it was just not right, because I couldn't understand why we were just doing the same mundane things over and over. But you can feel in your spirit that something is missing. As I do my studies, I realize something too. I realize that when you do research and you really when you really settled into what you already believe, then there's no need for you to do any research because you're going to accept that as the truth. But if you are questioning why you believe what you believe, why do we do what we do? And again, I'm no stranger to the Bible, and the King James version of the Bible was the Bible I use, the Bible of choice. And I'm reading this Bible, because you're encouraged in Christianity, well, at least in some religions, in some denominations, to read the Bible. And you were told that the Old Testament is done away with, pretty much, but it's there for guidance, it's there for learning. But you're looking at the Old Testament, you're reading, you're comparing it to the New Testament, you start asking questions. Wait a minute, there's some things different in the New Testament than it was in the Old Testament. And then you read scripture like in the Old Testament and even in the New Testament, that the Creator doesn't change. And when you start to look at what the Creator have to say of himself, he says, I change not. Many, many times he said that you, O Yahosharal, where we know it back then as Israel, will not be destroyed. So when you start looking at the way he doesn't change, but clearly in the New Testament, he's not the same God as he was in the Old Testament. Then you start realizing things like the Trinity. Trinity, the concept of a triune God, is only in the New Testament. And it's not there. If you're really reading, there's no scripture in the Bible at all that spoke of a triune God, right? But it was put there in a way that you may believe. And some of the scriptures that's used is John 1:1 and John 5:7. It said there's three that bear records in heaven, and these three are one. But they don't continue to read that there are three that bear record on earth, and these three are one. So if you look at the statement of John 5:7, I believe it is, 1 John 5:7, you will realize something doesn't add up. Because number one, it says record. These three that bear record. So when we look at record, witness, it actually means witness. These three that bear witness. So we say, well, these three are one. So then you start to really research, and then you go back, because if the Old Testament was supposed to be a guide for the New Testament, then you're looking at Old Testament, you look at New Testament, it says something is off. I don't know if you have ever questioned that, because again, you were taught not to question. You were taught to believe in the infallible word of God. And the Bible is the infallible word. So you would not want to question that. But common sense says you're reading something that is off. All right. So when you look up the word religion now, so you start with religion. So you start to learn about religion, and then you realize, but wait, my religion is not the only religion on the planet. There are more religion on the planet. Why are there more religion on the planet? Why are there so many Christian denominations? Why there are more religion on the planet if there's only one God in the heavens? Then you start to realize, wait a minute, there are not just one gods. There are more than one God. Because you read in the Old Testament, you listen to what the Creator said to his children. He said what? He said, hear, O Israel, and I'm going to use that word for now, because these are things that I found out later, that Israel is not the real word, the real name. But hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. One God. And he says, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. So the Creator himself is telling us there are other gods. But watch this. False gods, idols, kings and prime ministers and presidents, they're considered gods. People worship them. Now realize something. A God can be anything or anyone. That's why people worship the wind. People worship the river or the trees or the forests. People worship the rain, the lightning, the thunder. They always talk about the thunder god or the lightning god. People worship and can worship anything. People even worship themselves as gods. You got Charlemagne the god. You have the GOAT, our Michael Jordan, who's considered to be the god of basketball, Babe Ruth, all these people, what I mean? They worship the Beyonce's, the hip hop artists, and the R&B artists. They are worship. People sell themselves to get tickets to go worship these people. But we have to also understand something, that these people worship a God too. These people worship a God too. So if you're worshiping these people, whoever these people worship, that is your God. The kings of old were representing the gods they worship. At times they were considered God incarnate. They were considered God incarnate. So when you worship the Führer as God, God on earth, God raw as man, God on earth. When you worship the Führer, you are worshiping the God. When you worship in the Babylonian kingdom, or the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar, you were worshiping his God. If you worship at the Philistines, you were worshiping their God. And all their gods has names. I've done some research and found out that all these gods, all these false idols, false gods, are the same God. They just transform their names, change their names for different geographical sectors, but they're the same God. They're the same God perpetrating. So you see, the God Ra is the God Zeus, who is the God Apollo. It's the same God going down the line, only different name for different cultures, right? So when you understand these things, you start questions. Wait a minute. So there are many gods that are false, but there's only one God that is true. And how do you know this God? Then you have to test these gods. If they claim to be gods, you got to put them to the test. Because if you don't put them to the test, then you are deceived as well. So you have to test these gods. And one thing I love about the God of Yahusha, well, let me just say Israel for now, because you're going to realize why I don't use the word Israel. But if you test these gods, you will see that one proclaim that he knows the end from the beginning. He knows that which is going to happen before it happened. And he stated many times, I know there's none like me, declaring the end from the beginning. You can find that in Isaiah 46, verse 8 through 10. You can find that there. So he knows the future, past, present, and future stands right before him. So that's the God I serve, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. See, there's a significant, outstanding, or instanding statement that was made here. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So we must understand he's identifying himself as the God of these three men. So that's where you come in. Because if you go back to the beginning, he created the world, one man, one woman, gave them everything, put everything under their charge, but they disobeyed him and eat off the tree that he commanded them not to eat. And because of that, they were expelled out of his presence. And then the first child was born in sin, or born in corruption. No children born in the Garden of Eden. You see, if they were born into the Garden of Eden, they could reach out and get to the tree of life and eat forever, and eat and live forever. But they didn't. They were born outside the Garden of Eden, outside the presence of the Most High. All right. So once you understand these things now, and you look at the world, it's being populated, you see murder, all kind of things start happening. Then he got pissed off and said, you regret making man on the planet. And then he decided, all right, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to wipe the slate clean. I'm going to start over new. But he found grace in one guy. And he says, this guy, Noach, a.k.a. Noah, he found grace in this guy, because he kept his laws, his precepts, and his charge, his covenant. So when you look right there, you see that everything is about his voice, about his covenant, about his precept. And since he's God of gods, he can destroy and he can build up and he can tear down, he can do whatever he wants. So he decided to wipe all mankind, beasts off the face of the earth. And why he did that? Because he said the hearts of man, which is the mind of man, has become corrupt all the time, evil all the time. And so he started the earth over with the man and his family, 8 people in all. The earth got populated again. He made a promise he will not destroy the earth with a flood again. Therefore, he has to do something new. And his word is law. His covenant is law. His precept is law. That's his word is eternal. He will not alter it nor break it. He says, my covenant will I not break nor alter the things that gone out of my lips. This is the God that I'm learning. Now, at this point, there was no religion. There was no Christianity. There was nothing that we understand as religions today. And I'm going to look up religion for you and tell you what religion is. So now here's the first religion on the planet, the Babylonian religion that we know of. Way back after the ark, there was a man who rose up and he decided, I am going to defy the creator. I'm not going to spread my wings and multiply all over the earth. I'm going to stay in one place, and we're going to have, it's one name, it's one religion, one rebellious religion against the creator. One. This guy's name was Nimrod. And he was trying to defy the creator. And he figured if he could build a tower, the tower has two implications. There's two implications of this tower. Two reasons why he's building this tower that I know of. There could be more. One, that just in case God goes back on his word, they would and flood the earth again, they would have a place safe in their big towers. You know, when there's a flood, one of the first things they tell you to do is run to the hills or run to the high buildings, right? So you can pass through. So they figure, okay, if God was to flood the earth, they'll be safe in their high tower. But you must understand, when the creator says he's not going to do something, he's not going to do something. As a matter of fact, he signed it and sealed it with a promise, which he calls the rainbow, which is now hijacked by a group of people. A group of people. But the covenant was a sign that he would never do that very thing he said he will never do. It was an everlasting covenant. And when you see it, you will know. And so if you think you were not there, then the rainbow would have no significance to you. But when he made that covenant, he made it with all flesh, all animals, all flesh, every creature under the heavens. And he said, when I see it, I will remember my covenant. It's going to be an everlasting token, everlasting mark, everlasting sign, seal. I will never do this again. You were there, but you were inside Noach, or one of the children. You were inside one of the children, right? And so the mere fact that you see it, it's a testament to the fact that the word of Yahweh is true. And all right, let's keep moving. So the earth is populated. Here comes the first religion, Babylon. All right. And it's rebellion. It's rebellion against the creator. And the tower was a symbol or a sign to say, we are no longer listening to you. We're going to rule ourselves. We're going to become our own God, makes our own decision. You tell us to scatter over the earth, we're going to stay right here. And as a matter of fact, we're building a tower to get up to you so we can actually dethrone you. We're going to kill you. So the creator himself come down and he looked at what they were doing. And he said, oh, because you have one language, you start up in this rebellion or religion. You know, it kind of sounds similar, right? Rebellion, religion. The sin of rebellion is one of the worst sin that a man could create, a man could commit against the creator. The sin of rebellion is when you made up your mind that you are right. It's when you make up your mind that you are right, that what you are doing is right. Not what he said, but what you're doing. Religion. Here's the definition of religion based upon the Oxford Language Dictionary. The belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods. You heard that? Let me read it again. The belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or goddess. You see where god or goddess come from? You see where it comes? At the last. What is religion signify as? A superhuman power. So here comes Nimrod, who was a superhuman power. They all actually say he's a mighty hunter before the Lord. And everybody think he was a mighty hunter being used by Yahweh. No, he was in rebellion against Yahweh. But because of the mistranslation of the word, we see things and we understand things differently. Watch this again. Another definition here: a particular system of faith and worship. A particular system of faith and worship. So it calls for belief. It calls for belief. A particular system. It's a system of faith. A system of faith that is based on worship. Then the next one, a pursuit or interest to which some ascribe supreme importance. That is the religion. You see, the Creator himself has never started a religion, never commanded one, never prophesied about one, never sent the prophet to give us information on religion. A matter of fact, if you were to read the Bible like I have, you would realize that the word religion was never mentioned in Torah. That's the 5 books of Moses, aka Moses. It was never mentioned in the Thayota, the testimonies. All the prophets, the Psalms, never ever once mentioned the word religion. The word religion was mentioned in the New Testament, and it was mentioned only 2 times in the New Testament. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to throw this one in. The word Christian was only mentioned 3 times in the New Testament. Never was it mentioned in Old Testament. There was no prophecy of a religion or even a church called Christian. You see what I'm saying? So you must understand this. There was no prophecy ever of a religion called Buddhist, or a religion called Islam, or a religion called Krishna. Every single religion on the planet is a superhuman power. It is started by a human being. And it's a weapon of control to control the mind and the masses. No, and I repeat, no. Let me say it one more time, just in case you didn't hear me. There is no religion on this planet. There is no religion on this planet that worship the Creator of heaven and earth. None. There are no religion on this planet that worship the Creator of heaven and earth. I'm going to give you one more. Write this down. Write this down so you never forget it. Put it in your phones. Sketch it somewhere. Put it up on your wall. No religion on this planet that worship the Creator of heaven and earth. There is no nation. Watch me now. Come on now. Listen to me. Because if you listen to what I'm saying, you're going to gain insight. And you're going to ask questions. If you don't realize by now, I come to destroy all false teachings. That's what I was sent to do. I was sent to restore a sight. I was sent to restore the truth to the believer. That's why Truth Matters Broadcasting is a network that you will, when you hear it, you must think for yourself. Now, don't get me wrong here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying I am anybody important. Now, I'm anybody. I'm nobody. I'm the least. I'm telling you that if you want to know the truth, you need but to ask. You need but to ask. Most of you are seeking and knocking, which is good. But seeking and knocking cannot come before asking. You have to ask the Creator. Now, you might not know his name yet. I'm going to tell you his name. You might not know his name yet, but you know him as our Father who art in heaven. So if he is your daddy, then go to him as children and say, our Father who art in heaven. What is your name is the first question you need to ask. What is your name? Because if you truly want to know somebody in introduction, one of the first things you do, you ask their names. That's why when you meet someone for the first time, you stretch your hand out for a shake, and then you said, my name is Meka Albania Al-Sha'al, whatever your name is. What is your name? And you are. An introduction starts with the name. Because right now you have taken the name of your religion. You have taken the name of your religion, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why you call yourself after your religion. Because you see, your religion was introduced to you maybe by the geographical sector from which you were born, the culture from which you were raised. Your parents was a part of your religion, and they hand this down from generation to generation. And that's why you call yourself a Buddhist. That's why you call yourself Krishna. That's why you call yourself Catholic, Baptist, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, because you are born or married or grafted in to that system of worship. And you heard me said before, no nation on earth worship the Creator. None. Not one. No religion on earth worship the Creator. Now you said, Maker, how do you know this? How can you make that broad statement? Because why? There's a scripture that I read, and the scripture said, if they speak not according to the Torah and the Toyota, the law and the testimony, that is because there's no light in them. Now now you would say, but Maker, are you not quoting from the Bible? Isn't the Bible a Christian book? That's where you're wrong, ladies and gentlemen. The Bible is not a Christian book. It is not a religious book. The Bible is not meant to be religious or be a religion. The Bible, the very word Bible means book. It means library. It's a books of many book. It's a book that contains many books written over thousands of years by about 40, 50 different authors. It was not meant to be your eternal life. It is meant to be instructions that lead you to the Creator. And you must understand Torah and Toyota, because if you understand that, you will realize what's going on. But before you can get to there, ladies and gentlemen, which brings you to my topic, the missing children. The missing children. See that superhuman structure that Nimrod created, a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or goddess. You must understand it that no nation, no religion is anything without supernatural powers. Let me say, not say supernatural power. Let me just say it. No nation, no religion means nothing unless it has a deity behind it. The deity is what gives the power to the nation, that gives the power to the human who's running, or the church or the religion. It's the deity. And sometimes these men themselves are worshipped as the deity because they led the people to believe they are incarnate. And so if you look at the Immaculate Conception, you will see it starts from Nimrod all the way down to Jesus. All the way down to Jesus. It's one and the same. The triune God that creates a son who have 12 disciples and so on and so forth, died on the third day, died and raised on the third day. It works its way all the way from Nimrod all the way down to Jesus. Now, I know you're going crazy because how dare do I put Jesus with these other people? Well, you have to understand that Jesus come way down the end there. He didn't come up in the head. He comes way down in the tail. So he didn't come first. I'm about to say some things that's going to make your blood boil. But if you can stomach it, write it down. I'm not asking you to go ask somebody, because if you do, they're only going to give you their interpretation of what they think is true. That's why I sent you to the Creator. I send you to the Creator because you have access to him. You just have to pray. You have to pray to him and then see if he answers you. And when you pray in sincerity and you really want truth, and if he is the author of truth, if he is truth himself and you're seeking in truth, he says, my house is a house of prayer for all people. So if you truly want to know him, you just got to reach out. I'm not sending you to any man. You notice I didn't send you to any man? You notice I didn't send you to me? I'm telling you to reach out to him, and he's going to open the doors for you. All right, so now here we are, Nimrod, in his rebellion, is his religion against the Creator. The Creator come down and realize what they were doing and throw a monkey wrench in their plan. Confound the language. You see, before then, my ladies and gentlemen, there was only one language on the planet. It's called Gabare, the source language, the language Yahweh spoke from the beginning up to that time to man. As a matter of fact, he still speak it. The Gabare. I know you never heard of that. That's the true source language. But when he come down, what did he do? He split the language. He confound the language. And so right there at the Tower of Babel, in their rebellion, they had Spanish, they had all these different languages popped up. Chinese, Russian, Japanese, all these languages popped up. And because they couldn't understand each other, they weren't able to complete the work. And so in their rebellion, they scattered throughout the world. Remember now, they were all in rebellion against the Creator, but they can't understand the Creator. They can't understand each other. So what would they use to keep themselves in alliance to each other? If they can't speak the language, what would they use? Yes, image. They would use image to align themselves. And later on, they know they were going to come up with a language that will unite the world under one rulership. And that language today, ladies and gentlemen, is the very language I'm speaking right now. It's called English language. They found a way to unite the world again under one rebellion using one language. That's why everyone in the world is geared to learn English. Nobody's geared to learn Spanish or Japanese or Chinese or Russian, but you're geared to learn English. Everybody needs to learn English because English, believe it or not, is the so-called universal language. I call English the language of rebellion. I also call it this Satan's tool, Satan language. People think Satan language is Latin. And of course, it has some roots there. But his language is English. The whole world is under one banner in rebellion against the Creator. So now, they scatter all over the world. They're using signs and symbols. Signs and symbols today, you don't even realize them. All the Fortune 500 companies, TV, studios, music, labels, they're all signs and symbols of gods. But anyway, I don't have time to get into that. I want to get to this because I don't want to stay here long today. When I get up in the morning, I realize, that I need food in my body. I had 2 bananas and some water. So I got to make sure, when you're getting older now, you're not as as you used to be when you're younger. All right. So now the world is separated now. And everybody's gone to their respective geographical sector, which they worship the same false god in different names. Remember, I told you Ra and Zeus is one and the same. There's a sun god, Apollo, the sun god, is the Egyptian god Ra. And believe it or not, it's also the Greek god. They worship the same God, the same moon god, Ashtoreth is the same God, different names. So that's why they have symbols and signs, hieroglyphs, writings that connects themselves together. They're all one. The United Nations. Psalms 83 will just kind of float your boat right there to kind of like back up what I'm saying. All right. So now that they are split in their divinities and their divisions, worshiping the same God, different names, what is the God of heaven to do here? The nation doesn't worship him. The nation does not worship him. The religion is the rebellion against him. What is he to do? He is God. There's no God like him. Is he just going to sit back and let somebody just run his domain, his kingdom? Or is he going to stand up for himself? What would you do in a situation like this? Someone come, take your house, take your children captive. What would you do in a situation like that? All right. So what did he do? He called the guy. He found one guy who still believed in his words, because you see, one thing about this creator, he preserved his words throughout all generation. He does. He really do. He preserved his words throughout all generation. So the whole earth is in rebellion against him. He called one guy, just like before when he called Noah, the one guy, because he obeyed him, he kept his charge, his precept, etc., etc. Now we call this one guy, but what he did, he made a covenant with Noah that he would be. It wasn't really a covenant. He made a promise that Noah would be the one to be, the one to who's going to be saved because he obeyed him. And then he makes a covenant with the rainbow that he will not destroy the earth. That was an everlasting covenant. That's why you get to see it. Now, here is he calling Abram, and he's going to make a covenant. Now, you must understand this relationship going forward from Abram to the end of the earth. This relationship is with this man and his descendant, not with the world at large. If you understand these fundamentals, man, it's going to take you to a level of understanding that you will never be deceived again. You will literally drink from the fountains of water and you will never thirst again. So he made the contract with one man, not the world. The world at large does not worship him. This one man does. And the relationship going forward with this one man is based on a contract, or what you understand to be a covenant. It's a covenant, which is a contract. I'm going to make a contract with you that this relationship is not based upon, okay, it's not based upon like how a man would meet a woman or a brother would meet a brother or a business partner come. No, it's a contract. I am going to be your God. You're going to be my people. You will worship no God but me. I will bless you in return for your obedience, for your loyalty. I will bless you beyond your wildest dreams. You're going to have children like the sands of the sea, like the stars in the sky. I'm going to tell you things that is going to come to pass. You're going to see the future in me, because through you, all nation is going to be blessed. They're going to know me, that I am Yahweh. I am God. See, he's going to show himself to the universe, to the planet, through this one man. Because this one man is the only man that worship him. I call this one the missing children. Because this is important. See the background? You say you set up the background. You have to set up the background. If someone is going to tell you something, if I'm going to tell you the truth, and I'm only coming to tell you what I think and what I believe, then guess what? You know I'm not telling you the truth. You know I'm not telling you the truth, because I'm only telling you what I believe. But if I come to you and I say, well, let's say I come to you and I'm complaining about my wife and I. Let's say my wife and I get into an argument and I'm coming to you complaining. And all that's coming out of my mouth is my wife. My wife this, my wife that. She didn't do this. She didn't do that. She said this. She said that. Da, 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 da. And all this time I'm complaining, you're not hearing what I did. Now you'll believe me because you might like me. You might trust me. But if you're really working on common sense tells you need to hear both sides of the story. Because now you're just being plastered plastered with one side of the story, which you're likely to believe. But if you have true common sense and true compassion, you'd realize you need to hear the other side of the story. So here I come. I didn't just tell you boom, 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 boom. I'm taking you back. I took you back to the beginning. Because if you want to know the truth, you have to go back to the beginning. You have to ask the question, what happened? Ladies and gentlemen, you ever driving somewhere? Maybe you have a friend in the car with you, and you guys are talking, you get lost. You ever been lost? Anybody ever been lost? Come on, raise your hand if you've been lost. Or put up an emoji or something if you've been lost. I've been lost many, many times. What do you do when you're lost? Well, the first thing you do, you try to go back to the way which you came, yes? That's the first thing you do. Or the second option is to pull over and ask somebody a question. But one of the first things you do when you're lost, you try to turn back and go back. What you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, the very word repentance, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is here. The reason is the kingdom of heaven is here. The word repent literally means to stop, turn around, and go back. That's what it means. It doesn't mean to ask questions, change lane, and keep going forward. Because if you're going forward, you're lost. And you're probably going to get even more lost. You got to stop and go back. And so repentance is the Creator saying, stop. Give up everything you have. Because everything you have is leading you to destruction. Give up everything you have. Sell everything you have and come follow me. You see, that is the message. That's always been the message. Come back home. You're going away from me. Come home. That's always been the message. For what? The kingdom. See, not a religion, not a world government, but a kingdom. The kingdom of heaven is here. For you to understand this, I'm taking you through the process. Because a kingdom is promised. A dominion is promised to a people, to a man and his seed, not his seeds. There's no such thing as, in English language, you pronounce seed, is seed. And it's important to follow that seed. So, here's Abram. He has the promise. First thing he has to do is leave his father's house. Come on now, somebody. Say, leave my father's house. You have to leave the land of your daddy. You have to leave your father's house. So one of the first things I noticed about this Creator, you can't worship him in and around other gods. You just can't. You just can't. He's always been like this. He's not inclusive. He's exclusive. He doesn't include everything and accept. No. He wants to be worshipped separately. Come out of her and be he separate. That's why he called us into a nation. You see, when we were a nation, we worship the Creator as a nation. Now we're worshiping him as individuals, but we have to be called back to a nation because that's his plans, always been his plans, because he wants to dwell among that nation to show the heathens who he is. And I'm going to show you some scriptures, okay? So you have to understand what's going on here. So now he told Abram, you got to leave your father's house. For this to work, you're going to have to leave your father's house. Now, why? Why is that? Why you have to leave your religion? Why you have to leave the countries from which you were brought in as slaves? Why you have to leave your governments? Because as long as you're in your daddy's house, you can't worship another one. If he's your father and somebody else is claiming to be your father, there's two fathers there's two conflicts. And no one can serve two masters. No one can serve two fathers. You're going to love the one and hate the other. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to know me, you got to come out and come be with me. You got to come under my tutelage, under my grace, under my protection, under my roof, because I'm going to do something in you that have not been done ever before. And no other gods will get the credit for it. No other fathers will get the credit for it. One time, my son and I, let me just stay on script here. I'm going to stay around script. Let me just stay on script because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time either. You got to leave. The call right now is for you to get out of her. Come out of her, my people. You got to go back to the wilderness. So let's get into it now. So, all right. So here's Abram. He has this plan. He has this covenant. And as he's going further, Yahweh is showing him things and blessing him. Whoever bless you, I will bless. Whoever curse you, I will curse. You see what happened to Egypt when he go to Egypt? Abram was afraid that the Pharaoh would kill him and take his wife. And so he said, tell him you're my sister. And then Pharaoh married Sarah. And then Yahweh just sent plague on that land, to the point where they realize, okay, this is happening. But if you look around, it's happening to everyone, but it's not happening to Abram and his people. And the Pharaoh said, why did you deceive me? Take your wife and take all these golds, take what you need, get out of here. So Yahweh start to show himself. Amen. Don't mess with this guy. Time goes on. He doesn't have a children. Abram complained. He said, listen, Eliezer going to be who's my man right now. He's going to inherit everything I have because I have no children. Yahweh promised him a children. But before that, Yahweh told him, your children would be in a land not their own, and they would be enslaved 400 years. And after the 400 years is up, I'm going to come and devastate, drive out the nation they serve as slave. Now you must understand this very important aspect to understand the missing children. Where are the children? Where are the children of Yahushua today? Because you've been misled to think that these people who are living in Israel, who call themselves Jews, you're misled to thinking that they are the children of Yahushua. But you're gravely mistaken. You're gravely mistaken. You have to understand whitewash. You have to understand lies. You have to understand deception. The children has to go through a 400-year enslavement. Have to, must. According to Torah, Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, they have to go through some horrific things for 400 years. Your children will be in a land not their own, and they'll be enslaved 400 years. Now you must understand this. When the children of Israel was in Egypt, and I'm saying Israel now because you don't know the truth yet, but I'm taking you there. The children of Israel, so-called Israel, was not enslaved in Egypt 400 years. Go look up your history, go do the research. So when the Creator said to Abram, your children shall be in a land not their own, they're being saved 400 years, you must understand this. Couldn't be Egypt he was talking about. You must also understand that Deuteronomy was not written till after they came out of Egypt. You must understand also that Moshe told them that you will never see this land again, and you will never see the Egyptians again after the water covered them up. So you must understand these things. Once you get to these fundamental understanding, then it's got to lead you forward. So we're pushing forward now because we're going backwards. We're going backwards to go forward. Watch this. All right. So long story short, of course, he had Abraham has Isaac. But before Abraham had Isaac, they came up with an idea to have a surrogate mom because they couldn't have children. So they were trying, nothing was happening. They think the Creator just forget his promise. So they decide they're going to come up with an idea and got Hagar to do the surrogate mother thing. And then they have a son called Ishmael, Yahushmael. And then after him, they thought he was the promise. Later on, 13 years later, the Creator showed up and said, hey, listen, that is not my seed. It's your seed. That is your seed from your loins, and I will bless him, and he will have 12 princes. So 12 nations came out of him. But that is not the seed promise that I promise you. Your wife will have a son, and must give him the name Isaac, which means laughter. Yao's laugh, right? And so, because they laughed at Yao, you must understand now that Isaac was the seed, is the seed, the promised seed from the line of Abram. Now, two sons, one is not the promise, one is. Isaac has two sons, twin boys. One was the promise, one was not. Esau I hate, Gosha I hate, Jacob I love. You see what I'm saying? So Gosha, or Esau, was not the promised seed, but was the line of Abram. So Esau and Ishmael can chase their lineage back to Abram. So there are many nations on this planet, many people on this planet that can chase their lineage back to Abram. But there's not many people on this planet that can chase their lineage through the covenant seed, which is Isaac and Jacob. So now Jacob has 12 children, 12 boys. He had more than 12 children, but he had 12 boys who became the 12th tribe of Israel. And we're going to take it from there. You see what I'm saying? Going through the Judges, going through Joshua, going all the way, taking the promised land back all the way up to when they become slaves in Egypt. Then Yahweh freed them from Egypt, brought them to the mountain. Now you must understand something. They know the prophecies. They knew what was going to happen, but they didn't know the creator. They didn't know God himself. They've been hearing stories handed down to them from generation to generation, but they finally are witnessing this for themselves now, because now they see when he comes to Egypt and war against those gods and devastate Egypt. So they know that their God is real, but they have not heard his voice. They have not heard his voice. They had just heard the voice of a man who said, "Thus saith Yahweh, thus saith the Lord." So finally come to the mountain, they purify themselves. Yahweh came down on the mountain and he said, listen. But before that, he sent a message with Moses, to tell them, you see what I've did. This is in Exodus 19. You see what I did when I led them by the hands. You see what I did to Egypt and how I led you by the hands and bore you unto myself. And then he says, now, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant. See, listen to this. If you will obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you will be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. Though all the earth are mine, all the families of the earth is mine, you shall be a peculiar people unto me. Very important. It comes with a condition, or a contract, or a covenant. If you will obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me. And you, listen now, here's more. There's some more icing on the cake, because the Creator doesn't just bake the cake. He put everything on it. Everything to your liking, everything to his liking. He said, then you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. Come on now. A holy nation. These are the words you must speak to the children of Yahushua. He's not talking to the nations around. Egyptians are devastating. The Philistines are over here. The Amorites are over here. The Amalekites are over here. All the different nations are over there. They don't worship God. I told you, they don't worship God. They don't worship our Father who art in heaven. But here now, he has a nation of people who he has brought out of Egypt to worship him as creator. And going forward, he's speaking only to this nation. Everything he does in this nation, based upon a contract he made with a single man some years ago. So he's speaking to the nation of Israel. I don't like to use the word Israel because when you hear the word Israel, you think I'm talking about those people over there. They are not the children of Yahushua. That's the true name. It's not Israel. Israel is a made-up Trinitarian name. Is, Ra, and El. It's Trinity. It's pagan. It's deception in its core. The very nation in 1948 was financed by the Rothschild. You have to understand the geographical understanding of deception that is happening, but you have to read Psalms 83 to understand what I'm talking about. There's a conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. The United Nations, the nations are united against Yahweh, against his chosen one, his people, to cut off his name and cut us off from being a nation. Read Psalms 83. It's happening right now. So if you're going to cut off a name, are you going to be an anti-type? You have to be in the place of. To be anti anything means to either get rid of or deny or take the place of that thing. And here's how I know this for certain. These people who call themselves Jews, who live in Israel, who are fighting this big holy war, does not have a 400-year history of enslavement. They may can chase their lineage back to Abram, but they don't have a 400-year curse. They have to have a 400-year curse. And they have to be able to chase their lineage through the promised covenant seed. And because they don't have a 400-year curse, they are not the children of Yahushua. They have to be able to chase their lineage back through the covenant seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They have to be able to have a 400-year curse. They have to be able to be brought by ships scattered amongst all the nation. Now, who scattered the children of Yahushua and why? They were scattered because of disobedience. You see, the promise was, if you obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar people. But if you read Deuteronomy 28, you will see what was going to happen. So let's go down to Deuteronomy and let's look at 28 real quick. And we're going to look at just the beginning. Here are the blessings. Here's what the blessings that was promised to us. And you got to read this on your own now. Deuteronomy 28, you got to read it on your own. Here are the blessings. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto what? The voice. Goes right back to the voice of Yahweh, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahweh will set thee on high above all the nation of the earth. Isn't that what he said? That was the first thing he said to us when he brought us out. Then he says, and these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice, there goes again, of Yahweh. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, blessed shalt thou be in the field, blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of the ground, the fruit of the cattle, the increase of thy kin, the flock, the sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shall thou be when thou cometh in. Blessed shall be when thou goest out. We were promised great blessings, but we forfeit that because we did not obey his voice nor keep his covenant. And because we did not obey his voice when we said in contract we were going to do, and then you got to read Exodus 19 and Exodus 20, because for the first time they actually heard these voices. He heard his voice when he came down and he spoke. Verse 7, and Yahweh shall cause twine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, flee before thee 7 ways. And Yahweh shall command the blessing upon thee in the storehouse, and in all that thou settest twine hands unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which Yahweh shall give thee. And Yahweh shall establish thee a holy people. Watch this. This was the best part of the blessing. He was going to establish them a holy people unto himself. Remember, he says, a kingdom of priests, a holy nation, a royal priesthood. As he sworn unto thee, he swore it. He didn't only covenant it, contract it. He didn't only speak it, but he swore it. Who is he going to swear by? Nobody greater than himself. But he wanted to seal that with such a high promise. He said he swear that he's going to do this. Watch this now. If thou shalt keep his commandments, very important, of Yahweh thy God, and walk in his ways, and all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh. See, they were going to be called by, not only, listen, man, because they are his children. When you take on the name, you become the child. Whether you're grafted in or your blood child, you take on that name, you become the child. All right, watch this. Keep going. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of thee. And Yahweh shall make thee plenteous in goods, in fruits of thy body, in the fruits of thy cattle, in the fruits of thy ground, in the land which Yahweh swore unto thy fathers to give thee. And Yahweh shall open unto thee his good treasures, the heavens, to give thee rain unto the land in its season, and to bless all the work of thy hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations. Wow. And thou shalt not borrow. And Yahweh shall make thee the head and not the tail, and shall be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahweh thy Elohim, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the word which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods and serve them. What a promise. That is what I want. I want to live in my father's house. I don't know about you, but I want to live in my father's house. I want to drive my father's car, eat my father's food, spend my father's money. Because you see, nothing belongs to me. Nothing. I own nothing. My father owns everything. Our Father who art in heaven, he owns everything. I just want to be in him and live in him. That's what I want to do. I want to obey his voice. I want to go where he tell me to go. Come when he tell me to come. Go to bed when he tell me to go to bed. Yes, because I'm a child in his house. The Messiah said, unless you be converted to become like little children, you will not enter the kingdom of Yahweh. So you gotta become like little children here. Understand who daddy is. Obey his voice, obey his command. Watch this now. Verse 15. Here's where it gets really crazy. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh, to observe to do his commandments and his statute, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, cursed shall thou be in the field, cursed shall be the basket of thy store, cursed shall the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of the land, and curse at thy kindred, the flocks, the sheep, cursed shall the curse. Verse 25, and Yahweh shall curse thee to smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go one way against them, and thou shalt flee 7 ways. Man, curse. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the year, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no one shall fear them away. When they hang you and left you on the tree, when they cut out your bellies and burn you, it happened. All of this happened. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. This is when they sell our children. You got to read this for yourself, man. It's depressing. Verse 68. Let's go to verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee amongst all the people. Who? Who shall scatter thee? Wait a minute. Who shall do it? And Yahweh shall scatter thee amongst the people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy father have known, even wood and stone. The two greatest religion on the planet, the two greatest rebellion on the planet today is Christianity and Islam. If you look at Mecca, it's a wooden box with a wooden stone, with a stone in it. It's not a wooden box, but it's a stone box with a stone in it. And they have to pilgrim around this, bow down to it. That's the God of wood. Islam is the God of wood. The God of stone. Christianity. What is the basis of Christianity? The symbol of Christianity today? Wood, the cross. 1.8 billion people call themselves Christians today. 1.4, 1.5, or 1.6 call themselves is Muslims today. You will worship gods you did not know. All that happened. Watch this now. Verse 68. And Yahweh will bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way wherefore I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies as bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. In other words, no one come and rescue you. So that's why I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that in the children of Yahushua, the true children, the missing children, these are the things that you have to understand. They were sold into slavery by Yahweh. They were scattered amongst all the nation. Those people who are living over there in Jerusalem now, who call themselves Jews, are not scattered amongst all the nation. They were by ship into Egypt. Now you say, wait a minute. When in history did the children Yahushua, Israel, went back to Egypt? No, they didn't went back to the physical Egypt in the Middle East. They went to Egypt, America, European countries were called. You see, you have to understand what Egypt meant. The actual Gabari word for Egypt is Matzraim, which means stronghold, bondage. And that's how we were sold into slavery, just like he did. I told you, Yahweh was the one who scattered us. Now, here's a couple more scriptures for you to look up, just to give you more testimonies. Deuteronomy 28, I just read that. Deuteronomy 28:64. Moreover, Yahweh will scatter you among all the people from one end of the earth to another end of the earth, and there you shall serve other gods, wood of stone, which you or your fathers have not known. Leviticus 23:33. You, however, I will scatter amongst the nations, and will draw out a sword after you, as your land become desolate and your city become waste. Deuteronomy 4:27. And Yahweh will scatter you amongst the people, and you will be left few in numbers amongst the nation where Yahweh drive you. Psalms 106:27. And that he would cast their seed amongst the nation and scatter them in the land. Jeremiah 9:16. I will scatter them amongst the nation who neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send the sword after them until I have annihilated them. So you think everything that happened to us in the Atlantic slave trade was done by Yahweh. Ezekiel 12:15. So they will know that I am Yahweh when I scatter them amongst the nation and spread them among the countries. Ezekiel 20:23. Also I swore to them in the wilderness that I would scatter them amongst the nation, and disperse them amongst the land. Ezekiel 22:15. I will scatter you amongst the nation, and I will disperse you through the land, and I will consume you uncleanness, consume your uncleanness from you. Zechariah 10:9. When I scatter them amongst the nation, they will remember me in far countries, and they with their children will live and come back. Alalo at Yahoo. Jeremiah 13:24. Therefore I will scatter them like drifting straws to the desert wind. Ezekiel 5:10. Therefore fathers will eat the sons among you, and son will eat their fathers, for I will execute judgment on you and scatter all your remnant to every wind. Wind is nation. Jeremiah 18:17. Like the east wind, I will scatter them before the enemies. I will show them my back and not my face in the days of their calamity. Ezekiel 12:14. I will scatter to every wind all who are around him, his helper and all his troops, and I will draw out a sword after them. You wonder why the horrific things happen to us in the Atlantic slave trade. 1 Kings 14:15. For Yahweh will strike Yahushua as a reed is stricken in the water, and he will uproot Yahushua from his good land, which he gave to their fathers, and will scatter them beyond the Euphrates River, because they have made their Asherim, provoking Yahweh to anger. Nehemiah 1:8. Remember the word which you command your servant Moshe, saying, if you are unfaithful, I will scatter you amongst the people. Lamentation 4:16. The presence of Yahweh has scattered them. He will not continue to regard them. They did not honor the priests. They did not favor the elders. Watch the Zakan, y'all. Psalms 44:11. You give us as sheep to be eaten and have scattered us amongst the nation. Ezekiel 36:19. Also, I scatter them amongst the nation, that they were dispersed throughout the land. According to the ways of their deed, I judge them. Man, I could go on and on. Let me read this four more. I'm gonna read four more. Zechariah 7:14. But I scatter them with a storm wind among all the nations, whom they have not known. Who they have not known. Where it is? Who they have not known. Thus the land is desolate behind them, so that no one went back and forth, for they made the pleasant land desolate. Zechariah 2:6. Oh, there, flee from the land of the north, declare Yahweh, for I have despised you as disperse you as the four winds of heaven, declares Yahweh. Jeremiah 30:11. For I am with you, declares Yahweh, to save you, for I will destroy completely all the nation where I have scattered you. Only I will not destroy you completely, but I will chasten you justly and will by no means leave you unpunished. One more. Ezekiel 11:16. Therefore say, thus saith Yahweh, though I have removed them far away amongst the nation, and though I have scattered them amongst the country, yet I was a sanctuary for them a little while in the countries where they have gone. So even when we were scattered, he was a sanctuary. That's why some of us were blessed even in that time. But some of us seems to have favors. So my point here, ladies and gentlemen, is that it was Yahweh who scattered us. But according to this, he's coming back for us. Jeremiah 30:11 says, For I am with you, declare Yahweh, to save you. For I will destroy completely all the nation where I have scattered you. So what is he going to do now? What is he going to do? What is he doing in our time? He's going to destroy all. He didn't say some. For I will destroy completely all the nation where I have scattered you. Y'all hear me? If you can trace your lineage through the Atlantic slave trade, you are the missing children. You have all the clues. You are the fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28:15-68. You fulfill it to the T. The Atlantic slave trade fulfill the Deuteronomy 28:15-68 to the letter. You are the missing children. You ask the masses, where are the missing children? They tell you lost forever. They tell you only Judah and Benjamin is still there, but the rest is lost to history. You ask the Hebrew Israelites, they'll tell you that the Puerto Ricans and the Mexicans and all the different clans are part of the 12 tribe of Israel. I'm here to tell you they are greatly mistaken, because the Mexican doesn't have a 400-year of enslavement scattered amongst all the nation. The Puerto Ricans doesn't have a 400-year enslavement scattered amongst all the nation by ships. True enslavement. There's only one people on the planet. One people on the planet. We're not a nation yet, so I can't say we're one nation on the planet. We are a people. We're becoming a nation, but we have to go back to the wilderness. That's what most people don't know. Have to go back to the wilderness, my friend. Jeremiah. And how is he going to do it? Not like he did it before, he said, when he makes a new covenant with us. He said he's not going to do it like how he did it when he led our fathers by the hand and led them out of Egypt, because they did not keep his covenant. And what you must understand about a covenant, when one person or anyone breaks that covenant, the covenant becomes null and void. That's why he has to make a new one with the house of Judah and the house of Yahushua, the true people. He's got to make a new covenant with us. This time he's going to write his laws where? In our hearts and mind. He's going to become our God. We're going to become his people. And he's going to teach us his ways, and he's going to forgive us for our sins and our iniquities. A new covenant has to be made. And it wasn't made on no cross by no Son of God, Jesus. You must understand these fundamental truth. Because Jesus was given to you by Rome. Christianity is a Roman institution. Many wants to prove that it predates Rome. You don't know. You can't have Christian without Christ. You can't have the word Christian without the word Christ. You can't have the word Christian without the word Christ. And if you understand, the so-called Christ comes in the Roman Empire. He never came before the Roman Empire. So it cannot predate Rome. Christianity cannot predate Rome. Christianity is after Rome. Because you have to remember now, when the Messiah, the true Messiah, whose name is Yahushai, not Jesus. Some of you watching me may hear me say this, but some of you may not heard this before. There was no letter J until the year 1524. Therefore, there was no spelling of the name or pronunciation of the name Jesus. Even the Greek never called him Jesus, which we're supposed to have gotten our transliteration from. Our translation's supposed to come from the Greek. They never used the name Jesus. There was no letter J until the year 1524. So Jesus could never be the name given by which we must be saved. That's why I tell you, stop looking at the Bible as a religious book. If you stop looking at the Bible as a religious book, you will be on point. It's written for your learning. There's some things in here that will guide you to the truth. There's something in here that will lead you from the truth. So you must understand that what you need is the rock, what they mistakenly call the Holy Spirit today. You need the rock from Yahweh, to guide you into all truth. You cannot depend on your knowledge. You cannot depend on the information you receive. You need the rock. That's why I told you to go to Yahweh. Go and speak directly to your Father in heaven and ask him his name. And I tell you, he may lead you to a ravenous bird. Remember, I told you that name. Check out that name. Isaiah 46:11. It's right there. Prophesy. A ravenous bird is here. We have him. That's why I moved to the Philippines with my family. My rest of my children did not come with me. None of my grandchildren are here. Only my baby girl is here with me. But we're here because we believe. No, we're here because we know. Jeremiah 31. Let's read 1 through 3. At that same time, said Yahweh, will I be the God, Elohim, or Elah, of all the families of Yahushael. At that time, I will be the God of all the families of Yahushael, and they shall be my people. Thus saith Yahweh, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Yahushael, when I went to cause them to rest. And Yahweh has appeared of old unto me, saying, yes, I have loved thee with an everlasting love, therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. All right, who are left by the sword? He's going to destroy the nation. People don't understand this, but he's going to destroy the nations we serve as a slave. He's going to destroy, completely, utterly destroy it. And you have to go back to the wilderness. Now, let me look at some other scripture I showed you scripture that he scattered you amongst the nation. So now you can't blame the white man, because the white man didn't scatter you amongst the nation. He was a tool used by Yahweh, just like how he used the Babylonian to destroy his people and destroy the temple. He used the white man, he used the Arabians, he used the Africans, he used the Spaniards, the Portuguese, he used Germany, he used Italy, he used the French, the Dutch, England. He used them to scatter you because they all play a role. Now, you heard me say all these countries, but what you don't know is that every single one of those countries that I just called is Rome. They are of the 10 toes. When Rome dissolved in the year 476 AD, they become 10 nations. People don't ask the question today, where is Rome today? The Vatican is Rome. The Pope rules the world. People don't understand. The Vatican's rule the world, not the Pope himself, because he's just a high priest. He is the high priest of paganism. He rules the world. He is the one that everyone answers to. All the nations bow down to him, come before him in black submission. Look it up. Go YouTube it and see. All the religions of the world kiss his ring, bow down to him, pay homage to the Pope. Because it's Rome. And if you go back to Daniel 2, you will see that Rome will rule until the end, when Yahweh will cut his mountain out, cut his rock out of the mountain, but not by human hands, and it will strike the system, the artificial superpowers of the world, all the religious system of the world. It will strike at the feet and destroy them, but the rock itself will become a huge mountain, fill the earth forever. But before that can happen, a gathering of the children have to happen. I will gather you from the countries from which I scatter you. Has to happen. But he's not going to do it like he did it before. You see, when the children of Yahushael was in Egypt, they were under heavy bondage. I have surely seen the bondage of my children, my people, and I hear their cries of their taskmasters. Are we being beaten today? Let's deal with America. In 1863, ratified in 1865, there was an Emancipation Act. So it takes us from chattel slavery, enslavement, so-called freedom. But if you look at the time, 1865, to the last hanging, even now they're still in black people. The red line in all of these things, still a slave, because slavery is stronghold. It's not just bondage. It's not just chattel slave. It's stronghold. We're cut off from being a nation. We're cut off from our gods. We're given false names. Come on, man. That's why they call me Sewell, because I have the name of my slave masters. That's why you're Johnson, and all your surnames are the names of your slave masters when they're supposed to be the name of your creator. That's why we are Yaosha'al. All right, let me wrap this up, man. Let me wrap this up. First Chronicles, who scattered you? The only person that can free you is the one that scattered you. And he sent you to these lands not so that you can get reparation and live happily ever after. Just like your forefathers, you have to leave your father's house. And since your enslaver, or your enslavement, or the land by which you enslaved is run by your slave masters, he cannot bless you here. You have to come out of her. Just like Abram left his father's house and everything he knows, you have to leave as well, or die by the sword. The choice is yours. And he's not coming in with an outstretched arm and few report out to get you back. No, one by one, two by two. He gave you a command, and the command is that you must leave. Come out of her, my people. Come out of her, my people, that you might not be partakers of her plague. You can leave. You can get up on a plane and you can leave. There's no one holding you in bondage. So the commandment, you will leave or you will die. Micah 2 and verse 10. Micah 2 and verse 10 says, Arise ye, and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. If a man walking in the spirit and falsehood do lie, saying, I will prophesy unto thee for wine and for strong drink, you shall even be a prophet for this people. I will surely assemble Jacob, all of thee. I will surely gather the remnant of Yaosha'al. I will put them together as a sheep of Bora, and the flock in the midst of their fold. They shall make great noise by reason of the multitude of men. The breaker is come up before them. They have broken up and have passed through the gates and are gone out by it. And the king shall pass before them, and Yahweh on the head of them. Let me read it again. I'm just going to read verse 10 this time. Arise you and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with sore destruction. The commandment is that you get up and leave. The Messiah told everyone when he was preaching, he said, unless you're willing to give up everything you have, you cannot be my disciple. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in the field. When a man finds it, he hid it again. Goes away, sold all he has, come back and buy the field. Scriptures on the gathering. 1 Chronicles 16:35. Then say, save us, O Yah, O our salvation, and gather us and deliver us from the nations, to give thanks to your holy name and glory in your praise. Psalms 106:47. Save us, Yahweh, our Elohim, and gather us from amongst the nation to give thanks to your holy name and glorify in your praise. Micah 2:12. I read that before. I will surely assemble all of you, Yahoshaal, Jacob. I will surely gather the remnant of Yahoshaal. I will put them together like sheep in a fold, like a flock in the midst of its pasture. There they will be noisy with man. Zechariah 3:20. At that time, see, there's a time frame here. There's a time prophecy, People don't want to know it, but there's a time prophecy. I will bring you in, even at the time when I gather you together. Indeed, I will give you renown and praise among all the people of the earth when I restore your fortune before your eyes, say Yahweh. Isaiah 27:12. In that day, I will start his stretching from the flowing stream of Euphrates to the brooks of Egypt, and you will be gathered up one by one. How is he going to do it? One by one, two by two. O sons of Yahoshaal. Jeremiah 31:10 says, hear the word of Yahweh, O nations. He's speaking to the nation, and declare in the coastland afar off, and say, he who scatter Yahoshaal will gather him and keep him as a shepherd keep his flocks. Trust me, guys, he's coming back for you, but you must obey his voice and leave. Psalms 147:2. Yahweh built up Yerushalayim. He gathered the outcasts of Yahoshaal. Isaiah 56:8. And Yahweh, who gathered the dispersed of Yahoshaal, declares, yet others will I gather them, to those already gathered. Ezekiel 39:27. When I bring them back from the people and gather them from the land of their enemies, then I shall be sanctified through them in the sight of many nations. Psalms 107 2 and 3. Let the remnant of Yahweh say so. Let the redeemed of Yahweh say so, who has redeemed from the hands of the adversary, and gather from the lands, from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south. Isaiah 54:7. For a brief moment I forsook you, but with great compassion will I gather you. Ezekiel 39:28. Then they will know that I am Yahweh their Elohim, their God, because I made them go into exile amongst the nation, and then gather them again to their own land, and I will leave none of them there any longer. Hosea 8:10. Even though they hire allies amongst the nation, now I will gather them up, and they will begin to diminish because of the burden of the king of prince. Deuteronomy 30 verse 3. Then Yahweh our Elohim will restore you from captivity and have compassion on you, and will gather you again from all the people where Yahweh your Elohim has scattered you. Deuteronomy 30 verse 4. If your outcasts are at the end of the earth, from there Yahweh will gather you, and from there he will bring you back. Ooh, beautiful. Nehemiah 1:9. But if you return to me, come on now. If you return, come home. If you return to me and keep my covenant and do them, though those of you who have been scattered were in the most remote part of the heavens, I will gather them from there and will bring them to the place where I have chosen to cause my name to dwell. My name. Alalo at Yao Kaboda Laka Yao. That's Gabari, if you didn't know what I was saying here. Isaiah 11 and 12. Then it will happen on that day that Yahweh will again recover the second time with his hand the remnant of his people who will remain from Assyria, Egypt, Pathos, Cush, Column, Sinir, Ham. He's just telling you. And from the what? The islands of the sea. Yes, Jamaica. Yes, Barbados, Trinidad. All of you. He's coming for you. All of where they have scattered you, he's coming. He's coming. But you have to hear his voice. It's all about his voice. You have to pack up, sell everything you have. And I know some of you are going to say, but I don't have no money to live when I get here. I don't have no resources. I'm telling you, sell everything you have, pack up, and sit down and wait on him. You believe in him, right? You know he owns heaven and earth. You know he has a voice, spoken, things happen. It's not about how you're going to get here. It's not about, it's about your allegiance. It's about your obedience. If you just do your part. Say, hey, you know when I was coming, I sold my house, dissolved my business, sold my cars, bikes, motorcycles, everything, say goodbye to my family and friends. I didn't have my passport. My wife had her passport. My daughter had her passport. I didn't have mine. I prayed to Yahweh. I said, listen, I've done my part. You know when I get my passport? Y'all know when I get my passport? I bought a ticket to this place. I didn't have a passport when I bought my ticket. And when I call the ticket, the passport place, they tell me I'm going to get my passport on the day I'm flying out. Just think about that for a minute. I was so worried because if I don't get my passport, then I just waste the money that I spent on the ticket. But I say, hey, if that's the only day they're going to give me, then so be it. And this was in the COVID time, so I couldn't go down there. It was by appointment only, and that was the appointment they gave me. Do you understand what I'm saying? I went down there on the day of my appointment when I was leaving. I got my passport, and I flew out with enough time to spare. I'm saying if you trust Yahweh, if he's commanding you to leave, take nothing for your journey. Because your life is in his hands. That's what a child do. But that's up to you. That's not because I'm telling you. That's up to you. And from the islands of the seas, and he will lift up a standard for the nations and assemble the banished ones of Yahushua, and will gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Jeremiah 29:14, I will be found by you, declare Yahweh, and I will restore your fortune and will gather you from all the nations and from all the place where I have driven you, declares Yahweh, and I will bring you back to the place from where I sent you into exile. Jeremiah 32:37, behold, I will gather them out of all the lands to which I have driven them in my anger, in my wrath, and in great indignation, and I will bring them back to the place and make them dwell in safety. Ezekiel 11:17, therefore says, thus saith Yahweh, I will gather you from the place and assemble you out of the countries among which you have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Yahushua, the land of Israel. It's ours. It's not theirs. It's ours. Ezekiel 20:34, I will bring you out of the people and gather you from the lands where you are scattered with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with fury poured out. That's how I scattered you. Ezekiel 20:41, as a smoothing aroma, I will accept you when I bring you out from the people and gather you from the land where you are scattered. I will prove myself holy. Prove myself holy among you. Listen to does the creator has to prove himself? I will prove myself holy among you in the sight of all the nations. Ezekiel 28:25. Thus saith Yahweh, when I gather the house of Yahusharel from the people among whom they are scattered, and will manifest my holiness in them in the sight of all nations, then they will live in their land which I give to my servant Jacob. Ezekiel 34:13. I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries and bring them to their own land, and I will feed them on the mountain of Yahusharel by the streams and in all the inhabited place of the land. Ezekiel 36:24. For I will take you from the nation, gather you from all the land, and bring you into your own land. Say to them, thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will take the sons of Yahusharel from amongst the nation where they are gone, and I will gather them from every side and bring them into their own land. Zechariah 10:10, I will bring them back from the land of Egypt. You see, the children of Yahusharel is not in Egypt. Which Egypt is talking about? America, the land of Rome, all the Roman territory, England, Germany, Europe. I will bring them back from the land of Egypt and gather them from Assyria, and I will bring them into the land of Gilead, and Lebanon. Where you gonna bring us? The land of Gilead and Lebanon, until no room can be found for them. Oh my goodness. Isaiah 43:5. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bring your offspring from the east and gather them from the west. Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, behold, I am bringing them from the north country, and I will gather them from the remote parts of the earth, among them the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and she who is in labor, with child together, a great company. They will return here. Powerful, powerful, powerful. But where are you going to go first? He has to take you to the wilderness. He has to take you through the wilderness first. Just like he did with our forefathers, he has to do the same thing with us. That's why we packed up our stuff and sell everything we had and moved to the Philippines, Cebu, Philippines, where Yahweh will do to us what he will do. Let's look at Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20, real quick here. Ezekiel 20, 34 to 37. Ezekiel 20, 34 to 37. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherewith you are scattered, with a mighty hand and an outstretched, with a mighty hand and with fury, and an outstretched arm and with fury poured out. That's how I scattered you. I will bring you into the wilderness. Come on now, verse 35. Ezekiel 20, verse 35. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I plead with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, say Yahweh, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Wilderness. He wants to bring you into the wilderness. There's plenty more scriptures to show that. Isaiah 18:5, 7, Jeremiah 31, 1 and 2, Jeremiah 24, 15 and 16, and Jeremiah 27, 12. There's so much scriptures to show you where he's going to bring you first. Not just going to take you and bring you to the land. He has to plead with you in the wilderness. He has to write his laws. He has to make a new covenant in you. Jeremiah 31 through 37, I believe. He has to make a new covenant with you. Watch this now. Last scripture, and I'm done for the day. Jeremiah 37. Jeremiah 37. When you read this Bible and you understand the truth, you can't go back. You're truly set free. You're truly washed. You're truly born again. Truly born again, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this now. Jeremiah, Ezekiel 37, and we're going to look at 20, I think it's 23 to 28. I think Jeremiah 26. Jeremiah, I mean, you could go to 23, but I want to shorten this up. Ezekiel 37, verse 26 through 28. Watch this. You ready? Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forever. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yes, I will be their God, and they will be my people, and the heathens shall know that I am Yahweh. Do sanctify Yahushua when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forever. I don't know if you can hear this message and not start packing up already. I don't know how. I know you're going to have to leave your job. I know you may have to leave your wife or your husband. You may have to leave some children behind. People you've grown up with and love. Your career. What about your career? You may have to leave that behind. You see, the Messiah was teaching us a very, very important lesson. Unless you're willing to give up everything you have. He said, listen, man, if you love mother and father more than me, you're not worthy of me. Think about that for a second. Wife and children more than me, you're not worthy of me. Job, house, career more than me. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in the field. When a man finds it, he hid it again, but then he goes and sells everything he has. This is a call. This is a call for true conversion here, ladies and gentlemen. This is not no joke. You're leaving government. You're leaving religion. You're coming into the kingdom. It's like going into the military. When you go into the military, you're no longer a civilian. Your civilian life is left at the door. That's why when you come into the military, they strip you down. They take your clothes. They take your watch. They take everything that you don't need. They give you their clothes, their boot, their watch. They give you a house. They give you bed. You have to sleep. You're on their time. You're owned by the military. To serve is to understand that you are a slave. You are a slave to that organization. You see, to serve the Creator, we don't serve him as slave. We serve him as sons and daughters. And he wants his children to come home. That's why he says the children of Yahushua, which you are. If you can trace your lineage to the Atlantic slave trade. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. There's no need to fear. Yes, you're going to come into some unfamiliar territory. I tell you, for the first time, I've done the tent of meetings in 8 days out there in the wilderness, living in tent. It was a horrible experience for me because I was sick. I even had a heat stroke. My fingers are still numb. I still get giddy in the head sometimes from that experience. And I remember out there saying, did you bring me here so that I will die? I said, I trust you. You have a plan for me. And I didn't feel like I knew I wasn't going to die because I didn't feel like I've fulfilled the purpose for which he brought me on this planet, for which he brought me here. And I know that my purpose, I know this a long time now, that my purpose is to restore truth to the believer. The problem was I was doing it as a Christian, trying to reach everybody. But I'm not trying to reach everybody anymore. I'm trying to reach the children of Yahushua. I'm trying to reach you, those who can chase their lineage to the Atlantic slave trade. I'm talking directly to you. But there's hope for those who cannot trace their lineage through the Atlantic slave trade. You see, the Father said, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. Read Isaiah 56. Just read Isaiah 56 and you will see that there's hope for you. But that hope still contains what it's contained for us. If you obey my voice and keep my covenant, everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it. The Shabbat. There's a condition that has to be met. Though you may not be a son or a daughter, there's an opportunity for you. Will you take it? That's up to you. That's up to you. But for those who hear, showing that the seed didn't fall amongst thorns, it didn't fall amongst the wayside, it didn't fall on rocky ground, that the seed, the message you're hearing now, fall amongst good ground. It's time for you to leave these countries. If you don't, you will be consumed by it. Come out of her, my people, said Yahweh, that you may not be partakers of her plagues. What does that mean? That the plague he's going to send, that's going to be destroy these cities, is going to consume you. The only way to be free, truly free, is if you come out. All right, with that said, the choice is yours. Do what you want. Lastly, as I go, I pray that you visit the ravenous bird. I told you he's here. Yahweh, sanctify this man and set him apart for the work of restoring, of executing, not even restoring, but executing his counsel. The ravenous bird is here. You can find that in Isaiah 59 Isaiah 46 verse 11. He has a YouTube channel. Let me beg you. I don't beg, but let me beg you to go watch it. The ravenous bird, ladies and gentlemen. The ravenous bird. I will send a ravenous bird, the man who will execute my counsel from a far country. The ravenous bird is here. Go on the YouTube channel and look up the ravenous bird, RAVENOUS BIRD, the ravenous bird, and look up the true name of the Creator, the true name of the Creator. Then brought by ships, then keep silent before me islands. You'll see why we're here in the Philippines. And lastly, leave on wings. I suggest you go watch those. You may be running out of time. Peace.